Laptop brands have been pushing 16-inch gaming notebooks lately so they could squeeze in more powerful CPU and GPU while still keeping it in a 15-inch form factor. And Asus was kind enough to lend us one of their latest gaming laptop, the ROG Strix G16. Hello and welcome back again to Junkyard Summit, and today we are taking a look at ROG's latest 16-incher. But before we dive into the laptop itself, let us do a quick unboxing. Right out of the gate, we are greeted by this massive box which houses the actual notebook box as well as the included exclusive ROG backpack. Moving on to the next box, here we have the Strix G16, an ROG Strix Impact gaming mice, its 280-watt power brick, and lastly, an alternative pocket-sized 100-watt Type-C charger. Asus pretty much included most essential accessories that you might need, so that's one less thing to worry about. Taking a closer look at the laptop, let us start first with the design. The Strix G16 is a heavy laptop weighing at 2.5 kilograms. But this in turn gives the notebook a solid and sturdy feel while keeping it sleek with its usual stylish gamer design. The top cover is made up of aluminum with brushed metal finish and bold accents, including the iconic ROG logo. Our lone unit comes in Eclipse Gray, which I personally prefer more, but for those looking for a more striking look, ROG also has its Volt Green option available. Perky RGB lighting can be found on the keyboard and more RGB around the edges, adding a touch of personalization. And if you want to be more subtle, you can easily turn it off over at their Armoury Crate software. As for connectivity, over at the left side, we have our charger port, a 2.5 gig LAN, an HDMI 2.1 for up to 4K 120Hz, two Type-C ports, one supporting Thunderbolt 4, and other is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 with display and 100-watt PD support, and an audio jack. Over at the other side, it has two USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-A ports. Something to note is that if you're using a wired mice, it will eat some space on your mouse area, especially noticeable if you like playing FPS games. While not visible, our Strix G16 is also equipped with Intel's Wi-Fi 6E connectivity for seamless connections. For its keyboard, layout is pretty much similar with their previous Strix G15 but with some noticeable improvements. Keys have noticeable better travel distance and also has a nice tactile feedback, which in my experience is easier to type and game on. It also features a good number of media keys and the designated macro buttons at the top area, which again can be customized over at the Armoury Crate. The trackpad is noticeably bigger given that it is 16-inch, but personally, I would prefer it to be a bit bigger as there's still some space left for it. So here is the visual and audio quality of the webcam. Obviously, not the greatest, but again, it's better than nothing. I'm not an audiophile, but speakers are good enough for content consumptions with enough bass, clarity, and depth. Asus also stated that this is both Dolby Atmos and Hi-Res audio certified, but unfortunately, there is no way that I can test this one right now. Display-wise, you can immediately see and notice its wider screen real estate, which has been a trend for a lot of ROG laptops for the past few years now. The Strix G16 features a 16:10 aspect ratio and a 90% screen-to-body ratio, though it still sticks to Full HD+, but now offers 165Hz refresh rate for smoother frames when gaming. Sadly, its IPS display is still susceptible to glare due to its measly 300 nits of brightness. Other users and tech reviewers commented on the amount of backlight bleed that they have over at their unit, but luckily for us, the bleeding is not that evident, but I do hope that Asus would properly address this issue in future productions as this laptop is not that cheap to begin with. Under the hood, the ROG Strix G16 is rigged out with up to Intel Core i7 13650HX, a 14-core CPU that can handle most tasks you throw at it, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 laptop GPU with 8 gigs of GDDR6 memory, which can easily run modern game titles. Our unit also comes with 2 sticks of 8GB DDR5 4800 SODI memory, and finally a terabyte of PCIe 4 and NVMe M.2 SSD with another M.2 slot for future storage expansions. Even just hearing the specs of these laptops, we can already assume that this laptop can breeze through anything that you throw at it. And it actually does. Synthetic benchmarks shows that it can even outmatch last generation's Core i9 and can actually compete to desktop variants. As for gaming, modern titles should be an easy feat, and you can easily crank up the graphical settings to take advantage of its high refresh rate. Being an RTX 40 series GPU, this also has ray tracing, and we can also get additional frames for supported titles using NVIDIA's new DLSS 3.0. As mentioned a while ago, this laptop is heavy, and I am quite certain that this has something to do with its cooling. The Strix G16 comes with 7 copper heat pipes, 3 fans, and 32% surface area to cool everything inside. I also forgot to mention that this laptop comes with lots of vents, one on each side and a longer one at the back. Pushing the entire system to its limits, CPU temps only averages at 84 degrees Celsius while GPU is at 86 degrees Celsius. What's even better about these results is that the CPU has managed to maintain a 4.1 GHz all P-core boosts, and GPU clocks didn't drop below 2150 MHz. It gets a bit loud as expected on a gaming laptop, but as long as you stay on performance preset, then you should be able to enjoy a balance between noise and temperature. Battery life is surprisingly good for our G16. The 90 watt-hour battery lasted almost 7 hours while running our usual YouTube playback, and that is on max volume and brightness. Gaming on battery is as expected again. Similar to other gaming laptops, the G16 didn't reach 2 full hours before reaching sub 5% battery life. So that leads me now to pricing and conclusion. Right now, this model that I am using retails at 120k Philippine peso, and if you want the cheaper variant which has the RTX 4050 GPU, it should cost you 10k cheaper. Personally, I'd recommend getting the 4060 variant as you'll be only adding a few more for a much better gaming experience. As for my thoughts, the Strix G16 is a great laptop that has powerful specs paired with great cooling system, a large 165Hz display, extra accessories included, and finally an addition of a webcam too. But of course, there are still some things that I would like them to change or even improve on. These include better display brightness, maybe they can still do adjustment on the weight department, and finally, splitting the position for its Type A ports. But all in all, this is an amazing gaming laptop for its price and definitely a strong contender in the 16-inch market. So that's it for today. What are your thoughts on the ROG Strix G16? Let me know down below. And once again, this is Brain of Junkyard Summit. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.